The restaurant was glowing with Christmas lights, soft music filled the air, and couples laughed around warm tables. But at one small table near the window, a woman sat completely alone, staring at an untouched cup of coffee. She had been waiting for nearly 40 minutes. Then the man she was supposed to meet finally arrived, looked at her for only a few seconds, and said, "I'm sorry. This isn't what I expected." He turned around and walked away. She tried to smile, but her eyes filled with tears. Before we begin, if you believe one small act of kindness can change someone's life, please subscribe to Kindness Story, leave a like, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us that kindness still matters. It was Christmas Eve in a small town in Colorado. Emily Carter had spent the entire afternoon getting ready for a blind date. She wasn't looking for anything extraordinary. She was 34, worked at a local elementary school, and after a difficult year, she simply wanted someone to talk to. Her best friend had insisted that she meet a man named Daniel. "He's kind," her friend had promised. "And he loves Christmas as much as you do." So Emily had put on her favorite red sweater, curled her hair, and arrived at a cozy family restaurant decorated with wreaths, candles, and tiny golden lights. She chose a table beside the window and waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then 30. Emily checked her phone again. Finally, a tall man in a dark coat walked through the door. She immediately recognized him from the picture her friend had shown her. Daniel. Emily stood and smiled. "Daniel?" He looked at her, then looked at the photo on his phone. "Yes." She smiled nervously. "Hi. I'm Emily. Merry Christmas." But Daniel didn't smile. His eyes moved over her clothes, her face, and the simple way she had dressed. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't think this is going to work." Emily's smile disappeared. "What do you mean?" "You seem nice," he said, "but I was expecting someone different." He gave an uncomfortable shrug. "I hope you have a good Christmas." Then he turned and walked away. Emily stood there, frozen. For a few seconds, she could hear nothing except the Christmas music playing softly in the background. She slowly sat down. She looked at the empty chair across from her. Then she whispered, "Merry Christmas" to me. A tear rolled down her cheek. She quickly wiped it away. She didn't want anyone to notice. But someone did. Across the restaurant, a little girl about 7 years old had been watching her. The girl was sitting with her father at a nearby table. She had 2 little braids in her hair and wore a green Christmas sweater covered with tiny snowflakes. Her father noticed where she was looking. "Lucy," he whispered, "don't stare." "I'm not staring, Daddy." The little girl looked at Emily again. She looked sad. Her father followed her gaze. "Yes," he said softly. "She does." Lucy thought for a moment. Then she slid out of her chair. "Where are you going?" "To help her." Her father smiled. "Lucy, maybe she wants to be alone." The little girl shook her head. "Maybe she wants somebody to sit with her." Before her father could answer, Lucy walked across the restaurant. Emily looked up when the little girl stopped beside her table. Lucy smiled. "Excuse me?" Emily quickly wiped her eyes. "Yes?" Lucy pointed at the empty chair. "Can we join you?" Emily blinked. "Can you?" Lucy nodded. "My daddy and I were going to have Christmas dinner, but you look like you need company." Emily felt a lump rise in her throat. She looked toward Lucy's father, who was standing a few steps away with an apologetic smile. "I'm sorry," he said. "She has a big heart." Emily smiled through her tears. "That's okay." Lucy climbed onto the chair. "Why are you crying?" Emily laughed softly. "Because sometimes grown-ups have bad days too." Lucy thought about that. Is today a bad day? Emily nodded. It was supposed to be a good one. Lucy reached into her pocket and pulled out a small candy cane. This might help. Emily stared at it. Then she laughed for the first time that evening. Thank you. Lucy smiled proudly. It's my best one. Her father finally joined them. I'm Mark. Emily. Nice to meet you. For the next hour, they shared dinner together. Lucy talked about her school, her favorite Christmas movie, and the puppy she hoped Santa would bring her. Mark told Emily funny stories about being a single father. And Emily slowly forgot about the man who had walked away. She began laughing again. When dessert arrived, Lucy pushed half of her chocolate cake toward Emily. You can have this. Emily shook her head. No, sweetheart. That's yours. Lucy smiled. I know. I'm sharing. Those 3 words stayed with Emily. I'm sharing. Sometimes kindness didn't require money, perfect words, or grand gestures. Sometimes it was simply sitting beside someone who felt alone. When the restaurant was closing, Emily stood and thanked Mark. Your daughter is incredible. Mark looked at Lucy. She gets it from her mother. Emily noticed the sadness in his eyes. Is she here? Mark shook his head. No. Lucy's mom passed away 2 years ago. Emily's smile softened. She suddenly understood why Lucy had noticed her sadness so quickly. Lucy knew what loneliness looked like. Before leaving, Lucy hugged Emily. Merry Christmas. Emily hugged her back tightly. Merry Christmas, Lucy. Then Lucy whispered, next time, don't wait for someone who doesn't know how special you are. Emily pulled back and looked at her. Who taught you that? Lucy shrugged. Daddy. Mark laughed. I never said it exactly like that. Yes, you did. They all laughed. Emily went home that night with a completely different heart. She had arrived at the restaurant believing she had been rejected. But she left realizing she had been given something far more valuable. She had been reminded that her worth was never decided by one stranger's opinion. Months later, Emily became a volunteer at a local community center, where she helped organize free holiday dinners for people who would otherwise spend Christmas alone. And every Christmas Eve, she reserved one extra chair at her table. When someone asked why, she always smiled and said, because you never know who might need someone to say, can we join you? Years later, Emily still remembered that Christmas Eve. She remembered the rejection. She remembered the tears. But most of all, she remembered a little girl with 2 braids and a candy cane who crossed a crowded restaurant simply because she saw someone hurting. That little girl had no idea how powerful her kindness was. But Emily never forgot it. And maybe that is what kindness really means. You don't always know what someone is carrying. The person sitting alone at the next table may be heartbroken. The cashier who seems tired may be having a difficult day. The neighbor who stopped smiling may be going through something you know nothing about. You may never be able to fix their problems. But you can sit beside them. You can listen. You can smile. You can share. And sometimes, one small act of kindness can become the moment someone remembers that they are not alone. So this Christmas, and every day after it, look around. If you see someone standing alone, don't be afraid to take the first step. Because you never know. Your simple words might become the kindness they remember for the rest of their life. And sometimes, all it takes is one little voice asking, can we join you?